Hope everybody's doing well in this time of global lockdown. Crazy times we're living in right now. And I have a bit of an insight on that from Neff and family, which I'll get into. I want to mention, I did a recent interview with a fellow named Tobe Johnson who has been documenting similar activity, that validates the interdimensional aspect, their abilities, what I've been speaking about for quite some time. I'm going to cut a little piece out of that regarding, he'd asked a question about some footprints, have we ever seen anything that looks like boot prints? And it was funny because it was just the previous visit, days before that this happened. We're always being shown something new. This has been consistent throughout the 7 years that Dwayne and I have been documenting these experiences with Nefertia and his family. And, at this point we've literally had hundreds of experiences together, and that, this is both indoors and out. There's probably as much that goes on inside as out. And so these boot prints that he mentioned. So it was a recent visit, there was snow on the ground, and we were outside looking for prints, and Dwayne sees this short trackway. There's four prints there, and they were like very large steps, big huge steps, and they didn't look like Sasquatch footprints. So they're all angled the same too, which was also strange and in a tightrope fashion, as they tend to show in their walk. So at first I was a little upset, a little pissed off, as I was wondering, is somebody messing with us? I thought, you got balls to come around here, especially when we're inside there, because this whole situation has been inundated with trespassing and stalking and slandering and harassment. This has gone throughout the entire process. There's one person, we know who you are, and that's without doubt. And we catch any of these people on the property, there's going to be hell to pay. It's not going to go well. And I also have some things to say about what happened on a recent visit as well. Anyway, so this this trackway that we found. So Dwayne's checking it out. I'm filming on the back end of it, and then he gets up to the top, and at the side of the road there, just next to this, he gives a little chuckle. So I knew that everything was okay, and I walked over, and sure enough, there's a Sasquatch footprint. It's got that gleam from the heat from the foot, and also hair in there, which I will show you some footage of that. And I'm going to take a little piece of that interview I did with Tobe, which will preclude that little piece of footage, and I'll also put the interview I did with him in the description field underneath the video if anybody wants to listen to that. And speaking about hair, so I'd sent some hair into somebody out west, and this this went through basically third-party process. And what ended up happening, it was sent to a Russian DNA specialist who was working in a U.S. government lab, and I was not aware that what was going on to the full extent. I ended up getting a message back that this guy ended up getting fired from his job, and they flipped his office upside down, basically. And I thought, well, that's a bit extreme, and especially do some hair analysis on the side, which just is more affirmation to me that this is a threat. and it always has been. Anybody that gets real close to this truth, you figure out there is a species, an ancient human type species that is interdimensional, that just holds astounding abilities, extremely telepathic with a strong mind speak ability. I don't know how many times now I've seen something manifest in front of my face. I've had marbles dropped right into my hand and materialized in glass or bottle in my hand. That's happened numerous times now. Physical contact, both indoors and out. And that's been countless times at this point too, and with witnesses. There's been witnesses brought in that have validated the experiences here. And I also implore anybody to listen to George Knapp's presentation on the Skinwalker Ranch. A lot of similarities in there, although that showed a lot more violent tendencies. Although there was never any humans hurt, from my understanding. Animals, yes. But never any humans. Perhaps it's also from their approach. This situation, the approach has been very passive and trusting. And, I had to go through a lot of fear to get where we are at this point. So anyways, the hair samples that had been sent in, apparently the guy wasn't supposed to be doing this, so he did it on the side. And had told some colleagues who I guess went and ratted him out, and he ended up losing his job. So, that didn't make me feel too good. And then I had recent information that this same person had sent hair sample to somebody else. And I got an email not too long ago. It was a recent email. And it wasn't confirmed to be, but basically stated that it looked to be bear, which I found very interesting because, I don't BS. This is real. And these footprints that are left for us, they're left purposely, and we've documented hundreds from multiple family members, all the way, from infant up to 20 by 8 inch print. And he was seen back in February 9th, I think it was, 2013. He exposed himself to to Dwayne's spouse, and we were on another part of the property at the time, so she took the photograph through the kitchen window, locked onto the screen, so it's difficult to make out, but he's there. I went and stood in the same spot a week later, and just to recreate the scene, you could see he's got to be she said he was hunched, so probably closer to 12 feet tall. At that time we didn't go up and look at the footprints because we hadn't been there doing this for that long, so just out of respect, and I'm glad we made that choice back then. So there was this recent hair sample sent in, and comes back and it's supposedly bear, but it's not confirmed. And so these prints, I pull hair from prints that are literally minutes old. Some of them are seconds old because they do happen in real time, as I've shown in a recent video. 18-inch footprint that showed up, and then another one that showed up directly behind us just right after we walked past that spot, because we're always looking for prints, right? So there was a younger individual and obviously an adult that had left that 18-inch print. So I have pulled hair from fresh prints, and I know they're Sasquatch. I have the experience, hundreds of encounters at this point, and I just found it interesting that it would come back like that. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody saying there's any nefarious activity going on, but it does lead me to ponder the question of why it would come back, stated that, because I do know that these are human type beings. They speak language, they can speak English, they can write English, and I'm going to show some of that. So it was a recent visit. Dwayne and I had just got there, and we're still unloading our equipment, and I took some of my stuff. One of the first things I do, I go in, I lay down a chalkboard on the table with a sketch pad, a piece of chalk and a marker, and I ask a question. And, because of this whole virus situation that's going around right now, I just want to be responsible. And I asked, does Dwayne or myself have this virus that's going around the world right now? And, I stepped outside, we're both outside, and I go back in with some more of my stuff. Dwayne hadn't walked in yet. And they had written the words, "not yet." So that didn't make me feel too good. I went and told Dwayne, he's like, "What?" I was happy that we didn't have it, at this point, but wasn't too thrilled to get that "not yet" answer. So we decided to ask some other questions, which I'll show you the answers here. And Dwayne asked the question, do you guys know what they're trying to do to us? And their first response was same as us, meaning them. So I asked them, are they trying to kill us all? And they wrote yes. So that, basically us and the Sasquatch. Then I asked, did humans create the coronavirus going around the world right now? And they wrote, yes, bad humans, your God. The your God part, I would assume, applies to these people in power who, from my understanding, they worship some demonic entity or presence or whatever it is, but they're not light. They don't worship light, that's for sure. There's a darkness that has enveloped this earth for a very long time with, we're all being played. We're being manipulated from every angle in our lives, as they impose sanctions and continue to chip away at our freedom and our rights and our wallets. And this is all being done on purpose. Anybody that's awake is, well aware of this, and anybody that doesn't see this, well, sorry, you're naive. It's time to wake up. We're all being played by a group of individuals on this earth that, hey, if we all stood up at the same time, they're screwed. They have the military behind them. They break down the military, break you down one at a time and build you back up and brainwash you and make you think you're fighting for freedom and democracy, which is a bunch of HS. I wish people would just wake up, throw down your weapons and say, screw you, or take these people into custody instead, instead of listening to them and using your power to shove their agenda down our throats. So anyways, so I'm going to show you this little piece that they had written. This is all written by Sasquatch, yes. They actually wrote same of us, and then they corrected it, changed the V to an S. This is the answers from those questions that I just mentioned. And I'm going to show you a drawing too. So we had a recent visit, and there was some other nefarious stuff going on. As I mentioned, we're being stalked and trespassing going on, and found sign of recent trespassing. These guys are still coming onto the property. There's a lot of cottages around there, and they sit on the water, and then there's the gravel road that's in front of them, and then on the other side is the woods, and all those woods are owned by the cottagers, so it's all private. We have some individuals that are trying to tell people that this is public land, and it's not. So like I said, we catch you on there, it's not going to go well. You're going to have to deal with Dwayne and myself, and we're not going to be nice, not at all. So you want to take that chance and we catch you, we'll hold you and call the cops, make sure you get arrested. So we were there on a recent visit, and Dwayne and I are sitting in the living room, and there's a bay window there, so we're looking out over. I'm facing the lake, and I think it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I see this light come towards us, this plane, And I pointed out to Dwayne, I said, that looks really low. It ended up flying directly over the cottage. I estimate between 500 to 1,000 feet, and I'm going to play the audio so you can hear how low that plane was. And I asked about it. I said, "Is that Bad Humans?" And they wrote "Bad Plane for Us" on the chalkboard. It was a bit difficult to read the writing at first, so I asked to confirm it, and I said, "Does that say Bad Plane for Us," meaning them? And we went outside, and when we came back in, the chalk was broken in half and sitting on top of the chalkboard, and right underneath it was a little yes, so to confirm that that's actually what they wrote. And then I found in the sketch pad, which I'll also show here, is a drawing they did. And you can tell this is a little one because the adults, I doubt they would fear like this. But it scared the little ones, right? That these people are searching for them. And thank God for their abilities. They are invisible beings. They are interdimensional. They can manifest their physical anywhere, materialize, dematerialize. This is one of the biggest secrets on Earth, and there's some real dark people in power that do not want us to know this. This knowledge empowers humans. It wakes your consciousness up, and just imagine if that happened en masse. These people in power would have no power. They would lose. They would lose it. And so they had done this drawing, and they drew a plane, and it looks like it has a surveillance, some sort of scanning technology coming out of the front of it. So whether this is military or the BSRO, as I like to call them, because I know one of their members has trespassed on this property. I've caught him. I've filmed him. I've photographed his vehicle, and he's been literally just obsessed with everything I put out, and I mean every comment, everything. He continues to show that he the guy's got some mental issues, and as hopefully as the laws change. He's the accounts that he hides behind, just a spineless little coward because he doesn't come out and show his face, even though he pulled his voice out of video, and constantly implicates himself by changing his tactics after I'll say something. Suddenly things have changed. It's, just implicating himself again and again and again. He's a real bit of an idiot, really stupid human, chasing an ape in the woods. And this is what this BSRO organization does. You want to join them, you have to go by their rules that this is a flesh and blood being only. And while I agree they are flesh and blood, it's not only. They are interdimensional. And there's a lot of people out there gaining experience and gaining contact, that understand this, and the more people that speak up, the more it's validated. This they did this drawing with the little one drew themselves, and they wrote "scared" beside it. You can tell they're a little freaked out because they know this plane's looking for them. So, like I said, I don't know who it is, but we have literally planes flying over the cottage with surveillance equipment that is scanning the property, searching for Sasquatch. And I don't know what kind of technology they're holding on to, right? But this has been predominant throughout this entire situation. This whole surveillance and stalking, but I have no fear, especially a bunch of people who hide. They're a bunch of cowards. Stand up and face me instead of hiding behind your social media accounts. And this is how the dark side works. They hide. They don't want to come right out front and tell us to our face. Aside from all this, I hope everybody's staying safe. And there's this is psychological, biological, and economic warfare on the human race. They want to implement their one world government, right? And like I said before, anybody that's awake can see this. And look what's going on. There's been much worse and much less done because of it. So it's a lot of psychological stuff going on here, and this is happening as it's been written, prophesized. And so take faith that in the end, guess who wins? The good guys, the light, not the bad guys. Hopefully they get wiped off the face of this earth and shoved into some dark hell for all eternity, and maybe at some point I'll learn to send them love instead of my despise for them, especially at this time, Am I supposed to do that for the betterment of all and myself? Yep, I am, but I'm not there yet. I still got some learning to do. We all have our place, and we're all here to evolve and learn, and hopefully things come to light much sooner than later. Do what makes you feel good, do what raises your vibration. Just do what makes you feel good, and be safe. And I just wanted to show this drawing. There's the plane they drew with the scanning technology. They drew one of them. You can see the tears, and down here it says scared. And I asked, is that what it said, scared? And you see they took the chalk and they wrote a Y there. And that is the truth. The truth of Sasquatch changes everything. Bad guys are afraid of that. So
some of the witnesses I've spoken with, including myself, have seen smaller boot-like footprints in the snow. It seems that these footprints have shown up more often than not. Have you seen other little tiny footprints that maybe look like indicative of a boot or a shoe?
That's really interesting you say that, because this just happened last visit. Because at one point we were out there and looking in the snow, and we see this line of this short trackway, and it's perfect tightrope, right? And the steps are big steps, but it's not. It looks like a boot. And at first, like, I even have the audio of me saying, is somebody messing with us? Use another word, but for a sec I was like, I hope nobody's here screwing around with us, right? And then all of a sudden I hear Dwayne give a chuckle, and I said, what's going on? At the end of that little boot trackway, or whatever you want to call it, there was no treads in it. It just didn't look like their feet. But at the end of it, there was a Sasquatch footprint, which was blatant. It's like, oh, okay, now we know, right? And we just kind of laughed, but it was bizarre. Yeah, so that's really interesting you say that, because that just happened to us. So, and I took video of that, which I will actually put in the next video.
Now, are you saying that these are barefoot prints in the snow, like you see a Sasquatch print, or I'm trying to understand what you saw?
Well, the short trackway with these prints that looked like they didn't look like Sasquatch footprints, but at the same time, it walked like they walk, how they tend to show their trackways with this direct line, this tightrope walk. So these 3 or 4 footprints in a row. It kind of looked almost like human boot, but not, right? There was no tread, right? There was no defined toes or anything.
Right. You didn't see like the swoosh symbol or the Reebok symbol on the tread.
Like
gotcha.
That.
Right.
And at the end of that little line of trackway, there was a Sasquatch footprint that was, clear. It was perfectly clear, and hair in it and all that. And so that was a first, right? I've never seen that before. It was like, well, that's kind of bizarre. Why wouldn't the print show up, as the one at the end of the trackway? So it's just another thing that they reveal. It seems to be a constant reveal of new information.
Right. And these things don't help you make the case for just talking about Nefertia. it really gets into why in the hell would you add a detail about this that makes you look as though you're not looking into the phenomena legitimately. The thing is that when you look into the abyss and it's so strange and bizarre, it's because it's so strange and bizarre, and you just have to tell it the way it is. And these are the kind of things that I would tell witnesses to look for or ask them if they'd seen.
I don't see any tread though. I don't see a fucking pattern.
We just came across this. Look. This these footsteps. I don't know.
Well, it's not all of this nonsense beyond here. It's these ones.
Yeah, there's a you can see it actually clearly here. Pull your yeah. It's a straight line, and these are huge steps. What?
Yeah. All right. What's this?
Oh, there we go.
There too.
Pull your yeah. It's too bright. There we go. Yeah, that's them. That's what it is. That gives away who made that trackway.
Here's side too.
It is.
Pretty wide across the hill.
Cool. Thank you. That's awesome, man. I just love that. Okay, there's this this print here. Which was with that trackway, but you can see there's the hair there. Okay, this just happened right now. We're looking at this, trying to decide if this is a print or not, which it looks like. And and then this rock just bounced off my hat and hit my head and dropped to the ground. Like this happened about 30 seconds ago. So we have a visitor with us right now.
Show the ground.
Okay. Is that you, Neff? Okay, I'm going to shut the camera off.
Wait, up, down. Go! Now. Go. Good. 5, 6, 4.